everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope that you are all good. In today's video, we're going to be doing an autumn acrylic set of nails, and in the video I've left in the shops how I pick up my acrylic powder. So I hope that helps you guys, and I hope you all enjoy today's design, as these were a lot of fun to do. So starting off, I'm working on my Glamerliz practice hand, and I have already applied my tips and a thin clear acrylic base. I have all of my acrylics set out here. I am using the CJP acrylic system. So this gorgeous core powder that I'm using today is Fantasy, and this is one of my favorite core powders from CJP. It has a lovely consistency to it. It's really opaque, and I find it such a beautiful shade as well. So I do find this is one of my go-tos from the CJP acrylic system. Now on this nail, I'm kind of doing like how you would do a French, but instead of that classic French smile line, I just want this to sweep off to the side because I wanted to do something a little bit different to a classic French. And when I've been doing gel polish designs, I've done some similar designs to this, but it's not something I do too much in acrylic. And I would really like to get into doing a little bit more of acrylic color blocking, so I thought this was a good start. So I'm basically building it up exactly the same as I would a French extended smile line, nail bed, whatever you prefer to call it. So I've placed my bead down, walked it down, and then using the sides of my brush, I've created that swooping shape. And then I'm going to come in with my cuticle bead. So I'm placing this bead just slightly away from the cuticle and then touching it up towards the cuticle area. And then I'm kind of leaving the bulk of this product where I've placed it down, as I want to build up some of my strength and structure with this bead of acrylic. So the CJP acrylics, majority of them are strength or core powders, so they don't need to be encapsulated. They have a few colors that do need to be encapsulated, and this is noted on the tops, but all of the ones I'm using today don't need to be encapsulated. So you're only going to need to come in and encapsulate if you're doing design work. So we do still encapsulate a lot of the nails in this video, but this one here doesn't need to be capped. So that's why I'm coming in and I'm building up all of my strength and structure with this acrylic. So I'm blending that bead of acrylic down, and then I am going to come in with another bead of acrylic, as I had a slight dip here where those two beads of acrylic met. And I also want to make sure that that edge of the smile line sort of shape that we've created is high enough that I can file it nice and crisp and then come in with my color. We are going to leave that to set before we do file it and come in with our next color. So we're going to move on and work on the other nails. So on this nail, I kind of wanted to go for an ombre with a touch of glitter. So I'm using the gorgeous CJP Copper Penny. This is such a beautiful color. It's one of my favorite colors, and I only ever seem to bring it out at autumn and Christmas time, but it is absolutely beautiful. It has such a lovely shimmer to it, so it's beautiful for any kind of ombre or fade because it blends out beautifully, which is exactly what I've done with it here. We've placed it down at the tip, walked it down to the very tip of the nail, and then blended it back. And then right where that blends back, I want to come in with my glitter. So I've picked up a teeny tiny bead of clear acrylic, dipped in into my raw glitter, and I want that to fade back as we're going to blend our cover powder over the top of it, and then I want it to fade down so it's just in this center part of the nail. Now as you can see, I'm keeping my brush quite wet so that I'm able to nudge those glitter pieces around into place. And then again, we will leave this to set before we continue to work on this nail, as I don't want to come in with my core powder and do my ombre whilst this glitter is still wet, because it's going to end up moving around. So we are going to leave that to dry and then work on the ring finger. On the ring finger, we're doing a marble. So as you can see, I've double dipped into Fantasy, and I can't remember what this pinky shade is called. I think it might be elderberry, but I will double check and leave it in the description box below. So I've double dipped into those two colors. And then we're going to start our marble. So as you can see, I'm using quite wet beads. I'm going into my monomer, picking up a wet bead of acrylic, placing it down, wiping my brush, and then repeating that step for the next color. I'm going to place down all four of those colors, clean off my brush, bring it to a point, and then swirl through those acrylics, creating a gorgeous marble effect. The CJP acrylics are one of my favorite brands to use for marbles. These and Diamond Nail Supplies, as I just find the colors marble together effortlessly. They don't run together too much, but they just marble beautifully. So again, we're going to repeat those steps as we work down towards the tip of the nail, always cleaning off your brush though, because you don't want the acrylic to build up in your brush, and you also don't want to muddy up your colors too much. So you do see there that I am, whenever my brush goes out of shot, it's because I'm wiping it to clean it up. And then as we get down to the very tip of the nail and we've only got a small section to work in, I tend not to pick up all 4 colors. I'll just pick up 1 or 2 or 3, sorry, and kind of work with it. So here I picked up the pink and the fantasy, and then I do think I come in with, no, I left it as it was. And I left it as it was because we do apply some glitter to this nail, but I did that off camera as I forgot to press play. So moving on to the little finger, I'm going to do a full nail of this gorgeous blue. This is, I think it's called Sapphire Sparkle maybe. I'm not 100% sure of the names off the top of my head, and I'm not in my nail room. But as always, check the description box, they're all listed there. So in this video as well, I did record slightly differently so that you guys could just kind of see how I pick up my beads. So let me know if you would like to see more videos like this. I can also maybe do a little bit more of a tutorial on how I pick up beads. This video with a lot of nail art with the acrylic and a lot of design work, but I haven't really talked through the steps of how I pick up my beads. But if you would like me to, I can try and do a video like that. I tend not to do too many tutorials lately and do more design work, just because I've been having a lot of fun doing that. But if you would like some more tutorial style videos, then let me know and I'll see what I can do. I thought it would be helpful leaving in the bead pickup, just because I know it helps some beginners. I kind of like watching these kind of videos myself, as I know a lot of nail techs work differently, so sometimes it can be interesting to see how different nail techs work. We all, you know, have our own preference and pick up our own habits, so I hope it was enjoyable to see how I pick up my beads of acrylic. Moving back to the pointer finger, we're finishing up that ombre. So I did start off with quite a wet bead of the fantasy, so it blended gently over the glitters. And then I'm coming in with my cuticle and apex bead. This bead I've picked up more larger size bead and a bit more of a medium consistency rather than that wet consistency, so that it's going to stay where I place it, because I don't necessarily need to blend this one out as much. I'm kind of just gently bringing the very top of the bead down over that glitter. It did cover up the glitter a little bit more than I wanted it to, so I do end up just picking up some glitter in a minute and tapping that into the acrylic, which I quite liked because it gives off a bit of a layered effect to the nail, because we had some glitter underneath the acrylic and some on top. But I'm using my wet brush to fade out that acrylic gently so it blends nicely over the glitter, and then just using my wet brush, I'm just going to tap these glitter pieces down into that tacky layer of acrylic, just so that it's got that little hint of sparkle going over the top of the acrylic, because I did still want this glitter to pop in the set, as it's such a beautiful glitter. This one is from Charlie's Nail Art, and I do have a discount code for Charlie's, which is always in the description box below. So we are going to come in and encapsulate. So I'm going to encapsulate all 3 of the nails, but I've only left this one on camera. So I wipe over my nail with my wet brush to begin with. And then I'm picking up a medium-sized bead of clear acrylic, placing that down, kind of giving it a few seconds to come together and polymerize, and then I'm walking it down towards the very tip of the nail. When I'm encapsulating, I like to do a more pat and pull motion with my brush so that I don't pull off too much of the acrylic. I'm also using my brush to keep the side walls of the acrylic application quite neat as well. So you'll see, using my brush with just a bit of monomer on it, I'm tapping in the sides to make sure that that acrylic is staying where I place it and not coming off the side walls too much. And then we're going to come in with our next bead of acrylic down at the cuticle area. So I've placed this ever so slightly away from the cuticle. I'm tilting that finger downwards, and then I'm tapping that acrylic into place, and again just walking it down the nail. I don't need to walk this all the way down. I don't want to pull that product away from the apex area, because I've placed it in the apex area to build up the apex. So you then don't want to pull it off, because then it would be pointless. So I'm just walking it down and then just blending the top of that bead of acrylic over, just so that there's no shadowing between the 2 beads of acrylic. Now we have fully encapsulated, so at this point I'm kind of checking the nail from all angles, and if there's anywhere that I feel is a little bit thin or a little bit too uneven, I'm going to come in with another bead of acrylic. So here I just felt as though this center part of the nail had a little dip in it. It was looking a little bit thin at the tip, so we come in with another bead of acrylic. So we're now going to come in. Oh, sorry, this is where off camera I did add a little bit of glitter to the ring finger just around the cuticle and marble, but unfortunately I had forgot to hit play. So off camera I did that, and then I did also give this color block now a bit of filing as well, just to neaten up and crisp the edge of that kind of smile liner shape that we've created. And then once I dusted away all the dust, we're going to come in and apply that beautiful kind of like a pinky deep red shade. It's one of my favorite colors from CJP, so I'm really disappointed I can't remember the name of it, because I have this one which I think I'm 99% sure this is elderberry, and I also have cola cubes, and in my mind both those colors are quite similar, but they're not, if that makes sense. I always get the two muddled up because I love them both, but I only tend to use them at autumn. So with this acrylic, I'm coming in and I'm just filling in the very tip of the nail. So as I said, these two colors from CJP, this color, sorry, from CJP is a core powder, so it doesn't need to be encapsulated. So I'm building up the entire tip with this color. If you preferred, you could paint this on thin and then encapsulate it with clear, but for quickness I kind of just like to work with the color. It's really easy to work with, so I'm making sure that I get right up against the fantasy. It doesn't matter if it overlaps, because when you come to do your finish filing you can file off any excess. So I'm getting right down into that groove, making sure there's no gaps, because if there was any gaps it could cause the nail to snap. So we want to make sure that we are building up all of that strength and structure. So I'm getting right down into these little areas where there might be some gaps. Off camera, I then encapsulated the other two nails and did all of the filing and buffing. So we're ready to jump on and do a little bit of stamping. So I'm really loving stamping this autumn and Halloween. I feel like every single set I've done has included either some stamping, but I'm just really loving the effect that it gives off. And I have these beautiful new plates from Miss Lucy UK, so I'm trying to get as much use out of them this season. So over our freshly filed nails, we're just going to add on a couple of little autumn leaves on. So I did it on this finger and on the little finger because I loved how the gold looked against that block of color. So I've done this one and we'll talk through the stamping steps on the next one. So I'm giving my plate a good clean, and then taking my gold stamping polish, I'm going to apply a generous amount to my image, scrape, roll my stamper across the top, and then just remove any excess image that I don't want using a lint roller. And then we're going to look through our stamper, line up exactly where we want this to go, press down, little rock and roll, and then pull off. And as you can see, that has stamped beautifully. I did kind of wish that I had a bit more of a copper coloured stamping polish, but I didn't have one in my collection because I think this set would have looked a little bit better with some copper stamping rather than the gold. But I don't know, it kind of worked. It just would have looked better if we could have pulled some of those copper tones from the copper penny. So that was why I kept the stamping to just these two nails that didn't have any of the copper color in them, so it just all kind of still worked together. I really loved how these turned out. They're definitely a set that I would wear on myself. I love all the autumn colors, these deep rich blues and purples and pinks, whichever autumn colors you prefer, but I love a lot of these autumnal shades. So I'm hoping to, now that we're kind of moving on from the Halloween sets, I'm hoping to get a lot more autumn designs up on my channel before we jump on to Christmas and winter nails. So if you do have any autumn suggestions or autumn color combinations that you would like to see, do let me know in the comments below and I'll be happy to give them a go. So this is what the nails looked like once we had finished all of that stamping. So we're ready to come in with the final step and top coat. And I absolutely love this step when I've done an acrylic set, because with acrylics you do all your acrylic and then you file and buff and the nails all look very dull and lifeless, and then you come in with your top coat and all of those colors and glitters come back to life and you've got all that beautiful sparkle. So I absolutely love top coat in an acrylic set. So I'm going to come in and apply a thin layer of the CJP No Wipe Top Gloss, and then once I have applied this to all of the nails, we're going to pop these in to cure for 60 seconds. And then that, guys, is the end of the video. I had a lot of fun doing this design. They were a fairly easy set to do, but I just loved how all of the colors worked. So I really hope you all enjoyed watching them. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment below, let me know how you're doing. I haven't checked in with you guys for a while, so let me know in the comments below how you're doing. Are you enjoying the autumn season if it's autumn where you are. And if you did all enjoy today's video but you're not yet subscribed, please do consider hitting that subscription button, and I shall see you all very soon. I have been keeping to uploading every Tuesday and Saturday, but I may have the extra odd video here and there coming soon as I do have a bit of free time, so do check that out. Thank you all so much for watching. Lots of love. Take care. Bye bye.